Number 25. The trenches. German trenches were in stark contrast to British trenches. German trenches were built to last and included bunk beds, furniture, cupboards, water tanks with faucets, electric lights, and doorbells. Number 24. Dogfights. The term dogfight originated during World War I. The pilot had to turn off the plane's engine from time to time so it wouldn't stall when the plane turned quickly in the air. When a pilot restarted his engine midair, it sounded like dogs barking. Number 23. A high cost. The total cost of World War I for all involved is estimated to be $185 billion. Number 22. Victory Gardens. Herbert Hoover, who would become president in 1929, was appointed the U.S. Food Administrator. His job was to provide food to the U.S. Army and its allies. He encouraged people to plant victory gardens, or personal gardens. More than 20 million Americans planted their own gardens, and food consumption in the U.S. decreased by 15%. Number 21. Germans in America. During World War I, people of German heritage were suspect in the U.S. Some protests against Germans were violent, including the burning of German books, the killing of German Shepherd dogs, and even the murder of one German American. Number 20. The draft. To increase the size of the U.S. Army during World War I, Congress passed the Selective Service Act, which was also known as the conscription or draft, in May 1917. By the end of the war, 2.7 million men were drafted, and another 1.3 million volunteered. Number 19. Presidential irony. Woodrow Wilson's campaign slogan for his second term was, "He kept us out of war." About a month after he took office, the United States declared war on Germany on April 6, 1917. Number 18. A Mexican sneak attack. In early 1917, British cryptographers deciphered a telegram from German Foreign Secretary Arthur Zimmermann to Germany's minister in Mexico. The telegraph encouraged Mexico to invade U.S. territory. The British kept it a secret from the U.S. for more than a month. They wanted to show it to the U.S. at the right time to help draw them into the war on their side. Number 17. A will to fight. Some Americans disagreed with the United States' initial refusal to enter World War I, and so they joined the French Foreign Legion, or the British or Canadian Army. A group of U.S. pilots formed the Lafayette Escadrille, which was part of the French Air Force, and became one of the top fighting units on the Western Front. Number 16. Spies and horror. Margaretha Zell, also known as Mata Hari, was a Dutch exotic dancer accused of being a double agent. Though she always denied being a spy, the French executed her in 1917. French Second Lieutenant Alfred Joubert wrote in his diary about World War I just before he died that humanity is mad. It must be mad to do what it's doing. What a massacre. What scenes of horror and carnage. I cannot find words to translate my impressions. Hell cannot be so terrible. Men are mad. Number 15. Rittmeister von Richthofen. He was one of the most celebrated fighters of the entire war. He shot down 80 planes, which was more than any other World War I pilot, and he died after being shot down near Amiens. France's René Fonck was the Allies' most successful fighter pilot, shooting down 75 enemy planes. Number 14. Tanks. Landship tanks were first used during the Battle of Flers-Courcelette. Tanks were initially called landships, but as an attempt to disguise them as water storage tanks, the British decided to codename them tanks. Number 13. Big Bertha. Big Bertha was a 48-ton howitzer used by the Germans in World War I. It was named after the wife of its designer, Gustav Krupp. It could fire a 2,050-pound shell a distance of 9.3 miles. However, it took a crew of 200 men 6 hours or more to assemble. Germany had 13 of these huge guns, or wonder weapons. Number 12. Dog messengers. During World War I, dogs were used as messengers and carried orders to the front lines in capsules attached to their bodies. Dogs were also used to lay down telegraph wires. Number 11. The Pool of Peace. The Pool of Peace is a 40-foot deep lake near Messines, Belgium. It fills a crater made in 1917 when the British detonated a mine containing 45 tons of explosives. Number 10. Unbearable noise. Artillery barrage could be heard for hundreds of miles. Along with exploding mines, it created immense noise. In 1917, explosives blowing up beneath the German lines on Messines Bridge at Ypres in Belgium could be heard in London 140 miles away. Number 9. Little Willie. Little Willie was the first prototype tank in World War I. Built in 1915, it carried a crew of 3 and could travel as fast as 3 miles per hour. Number 8. Guy tank, girl tank. During World War I, British tanks were initially categorized into males and females. Male tanks had cannons, while female tanks had heavy machine guns. Number 7. Frightfulness. In August 1914, German troops shot and killed 150 civilians at Erschau. The killing was part of war policy known as Schrecklichkeit, or frightfulness. Its purpose was to terrify civilians in occupied areas so that they wouldn't rebel. Number 6. Catastrophic casualties. Russia mobilized 12 million troops during World War I, making it the largest army in the war. More than 3/4 were killed, wounded, or went missing in action. Number 5. The Spanish flu. During World War I, the Spanish flu caused about 1/3 of total military deaths. Number 4. Less disease, more death. Nearly 2/3 of military deaths in World War I were in battle. In previous conflicts, most deaths were due to disease. Number 3. Total deaths. There were over 35 million civilian and soldier casualties in World War I. Over 15 million died and 20 million were wounded. Number 2. Flamethrowers. Germans were the first to use flamethrowers in World War I. Their flamethrowers could fire jets as far as 130 feet. And number 1. A very international conflict. More than 65 million men from 30 countries fought in World War I. Nearly 10 million died. The Allies, or the Entente powers, lost about 6 million soldiers. The Central Powers lost about 4 million. If you liked the video you just saw, then feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel by using the orange button in the top right. And don't forget to go check out our website at list25.com for more awesome lists.